Hi everyone, welcome to the Prime Use series of interviews with top business and technology experts. I'm Dana Kohut, your host. Today we are delighted to welcome Devanshi Joshi, Cloud Solution Architect at Microsoft. Devanshi, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. It's a great pleasure to have you here.
Thanks, Dana, for having me, and it's an honor to be here at the Prime Review.
Yeah, I'd like to start off the conversation with your background and your current role at the company. Could you please tell us more about that?
Yes, absolutely. So I am a cloud solution architect, like Dana said, today at Microsoft, and I've been in this capacity working with Microsoft Azure technologies for over 4.5 years. Uh, in this span, I have worked with multi-geo customers and partners. As of last couple of years, I'm focused particularly for the US partners, where we help develop their end-to-end products, design their go-to-market strategy, and also help them architect to the very deep level of designing and actually implementing that product solution to get to market.
From your profile, I can see that you're really into cloud, AI, and different technology and other technologies like open source technology and so on and so forth. So my question is, what was your motivation and inspiration to grow your career in that direction?
Yes, absolutely. It's actually a teenager's bright-eyed moment that actually got me driving towards applications and then cloud in general. I was visiting one of the Tata Motors company campuses. My aunt was the IT head for that campus. And as a leader, she had privileges to get her family as visitors to see those shops, automobile shops. And there was different sections and departments. There was a robotic department. There was an army focused shop for building their army specified vehicles, and then there was the regular commercial vehicles, the trucks that they built for different companies for loading and unloading, and the different chassis specifications. I even saw how they came together as a vehicle from just individual parts. So, and then I was like, so what do you do, to my auntie? And then she goes, well, I am the one who's helping them do all of this in each of the departments. They use our tools and capabilities that we develop to make it happen faster. And I was like, you mean even the robotics one? Are you sure? Because that looked like and back then I was what, 14? And it seemed like, wow, robotics happening on its own. Oh my God. So that really caught my eye. And then I was like, oh, I definitely want to be the one who, gets people empowered to make it happen, not just have it all for myself in a way, because I could see the impact she had and what applications and IT does as a whole. Back then, cloud was too new. AWS was just coming up with their new services, and Microsoft was already in a PaaS platform, and I was too new to this. I didn't know too much about it, but that gave me the inspiration to pursue a career in computer science. And in my university days is when I got introduced to these cloud technologies. And I had a keen interest in networking at the time, because with networking, you could just bring everything together from any part of the world. That's where cloud really spoke to me. That whether you be in Brazil or Australia or India, well, it was all possible with least latency. And I was like, wow, I can control those numbers. Really? Like if someone gets a message in a millisecond or a microsecond, that's me defining how that network packets go. Okay. So that's where it all started. And when I got myself a job here at Microsoft, I was introduced to the whole application landscape and how that fits in every domain. So to me, it spoke like application fits in data, application fits with AI, application fits with infrastructure, networking. It fits everywhere. If you want to build a particular service, let's say today's world of AI, it goes through application. There is an application layer. You cannot bypass that application layer. And so I was like, well, I want to touch those anything. I want to touch everything that interests me in the time. And I found applications to be very centric. So I decided to go deep as an expert in application modernization. And hence, today I'm an architect doing end to end for each of these domains I called out: infrastructure, AI, data, but a deep down level 400 expert only for app modernization.
That is very interesting how your teenage passion and interest in robotics and technology grew into something bigger and your actual career in technology.
10 years ago, I would say, I remember we spent our free time not on a device. The only device in the house was television or maybe a telephone, the landline telephone. I'm not even talking about a mobile telephone at the time. The video games that I got a chance to play was when I was 14, coincidentally, but my first game was Road Rash. Mm-hmm. So I went to this friend's house and they had a CD, the CDs that era. And that's when I got introduced to video games. I was like, hey, so this is a computer. Can we also get one at home? But most of my friend circle did not have a computer. We only had access to computers in our school laboratory. So the computer lab in school had PCs where we took batches in the same section, but we took batches to be able to operate one-on-one. As a career, mostly children thought, you know what, I want to be an engineer, yes, but mostly around mechanical, because that was the hot domain back 10, 12 years back. They wanted to do mechanical engineering, go into these Tatas and manufacturing shops like Mercedes and Toyotas of the world. But no, computer was not the hot topic. But 5 years later from that phase, suddenly HTML was too hot. And these whiz kids, these boys in my class were like these HTML experts. And me and my friend, I remember she was my best friend from school. She's still my best friend. We were like, this is not fair. I mean, like, why do they get the attention every time? Like, I also want that. So we would sit back in after our classes and then in the computer lab and then learn it up, design our own presentations, learn how does Microsoft PowerPoint work. Can I create a movie to present we used to have these presentation classes for every overview of a project. And we wanted to be innovative about it. So we were like, can we use this embedded Windows movie maker? It used to exist at that time. So we learned it. We designed our presentation on that. And then that was my breaking moment when it was very well received. The teacher was in awe because she didn't teach us this. She was like, wow, the girls went a little ahead. That was my moment of being like, I want this. This is my calling. So, but that was not the norm. The girls didn't do it much. We were encouraged to code. This is like 8 years ago. We were definitely encouraged to code and get our hands on. But that was it. It was just for a grade. It was not for something you were passionate about or you could design through, because our class hours were limited. And after class, people had other choices that they wanted to pursue. So,
well, interestingly, I can see that you're working with partners. So I've got two questions here. One is, what does your team offer to partners to make them succeed? And next one is about the workflow, right? So how exactly does the workflow of working with partners look like?
Yes, absolutely. So as a cloud solution architect, we work with partners who themselves have customers. That's how the Microsoft partner system works. We are out there making our most impact because of our partner ecosystem through the world. Because Microsoft in itself is too small when you compare it to their partner network. And partners hence form this ally relationship with us everywhere, not just here in the US, but every subsidiary out there for Microsoft. And when I say subsidiaries, I'm also going to say a term called One Microsoft. What that means is whether today I be working for the US subsidiary or Australia subsidiary or India subsidiary, in the end, all of us are one Microsoft. Whatever team I be in, whether it is engineering or marketing or sales or support, we work together as one Microsoft. So with partners, and I've seen partners and worked with partners very closely across geographies from Australia, India, Southeast Asia, and now focusing in US. We offer the same kind of structure in how we engage with them. So we engage in 4 scenarios. The first one being envisioning, where we have a partner who comes to us and be like, hey, so I want to create a solution on Microsoft Azure, and could you help me with it? But I don't know anything about Microsoft Azure, or I know something about cloud, but I don't know the lingos of Azure and what you have to offer. What does that mean for my company? Can you help me with that? So envisioning helps us define to them what the lingo map on Microsoft Azure looks like for their existing plan and project in place. If they don't have a project in place, then we have this conversation of defining their digital transformation journey, what they want to achieve as innovation within their company, and what they are envisioning as a product or a solution in the market for their end customers. So we have that in that stage where envisioning sessions turn into a discovery session, where basically we ask the partner, Mr. Partner, or even the customer, if it be, that could you help us to understand what are your goals, what are your impacts, what are your borderlines, your outliers, your tighten scope that you want to get your solution out for, industry you're targeting, what is your, what are the integrations that you're looking for? Are you looking for platform integration? So we help scope it out, then we prioritize it. And at this point, the outcome of it is that the partner goes away with a very well understanding of Azure and its mapping to their problem statement. And they also identify self-reflection comes in play, where they really identify and prioritize their own goals that they want to achieve as part of this exercise to developing the solution. The next scenario is an architecture design session, which is a natural layoff from this discovery. So now that we have this definition of their problem or definition of their new solution they want to build, then we go a little deeper into sometimes as deep as lines of code to understand what service fits where. Because now we have identified the features they want to build as part of this product. So we know, okay, we got to put in some AI there. We got to put in some data modernization there. Some bit of data warehousing goes in. A little bit of containerization needs to go in. But we still don't know which service is where, because we need to really define those nuts and bolts to be able to figure out which one fits. And again, the outcome of an ADS, an architecture design solution, will not always be a single way forward. It could be 3 ways, and we need to define which is cost effective, the one which has least latency and meets all the tightened parameters that we have set as part of the solutions design. So third one, we go into a proof of concept to create this minimum viable product, MVP, and that the partner organizations, CXOs, define as, yeah, you know what, we're meeting our customers' needs with respect to latency, we are meeting our customers' cost benefits, great, so our product will be easily accepted in the market and actively used on our existing customer base, as well as target a new customer base. And yes, we can grow this even more, not just on Azure, but also go beyond, because today we are offering and meeting customers everywhere with our new service of Arc, Azure Arc. So That's a great journey of three scenarios. The fourth one is more about technical enablement. That is where they want their engineers or technical architects or DevOps experts to get hands-on or certified on Microsoft Azure technologies. So that would mean that we do hackathons and some a little bit of open hacks, as we call it in Microsoft, where we have it's a version of hackathons. There are lots of challenges. There is no hands-on lab. You have to solve it. You have to get together, design through it, and then do it, implement it in Azure, code through it if it's an application-based, and create it yourself. So those are the four scenarios and how we engage with partners, and we help them build their solution and go to market.
Since you so deeply know cloud, right, and you understand all the benefits of Microsoft Azure, maybe you could share with us your personal vision of the most innovative solution, right, that Microsoft Azure has to offer to its clients that actually would differentiate it from the rest or from the other big players on the cloud market.
Okay, I have two favorites, and the first one is my favorite because I am an applications expert and I see this as a wow moment for Microsoft. And today we are beating the market at this because we are the first to get there. That is Azure Arc, where we offer our cloud services on every platform where the customer or our partners exist. For example, what I mean is we offer this hybrid world where if the customer or the partner is on premises, has their own data center, then yes, with Azure Arc today, you can definitely leverage the amazing serverless capabilities of Azure right there, or the Kubernetes capabilities of AKS, Azure Kubernetes services within your own data center with this Azure Arc as a hybrid layover. Or if you are a customer or a partner who exists in our compete clouds and you know what, you want to use some Azure service because you don't want to migrate that solution right away today and it exists on Azure. So you can totally do that. With Arc, you can be having your solutions on premises in your data centers or in other public clouds or even within Azure. It gives this holistic view of all your applications, solutions, anywhere, and you have access to it via Azure. That's why I love Azure Arc, because it brings it to you anywhere, wherever you are. And my second favorite, the one that I think is extremely futuristic, is Microsoft Mesh. Microsoft Mesh kind of brings this augmented reality, virtual reality we have known today with Oculus and HoloLens everywhere in the world, where, we wear these VR headsets and we're like, oh, look at that, I'm playing it through all that. Great, awesome. But with Microsoft Mesh, we have designed that these VR and AR capabilities of hardware gets you through in a holographic way for interaction. So imagine, Dana, you and I doing this interview as if we are there in person today. So in a setting of, let's say, a conference room or a meeting room, and both of us are wearing this headset, and the way it gets recorded is like you and I are there. So our avatars are actually sitting across from the table and having this conversation. Like my hand gestures moving around or me taking up a glass of water, it kind of perceives it. And very real life like. This was announced during this pandemic, and I think it was great time that Microsoft Mesh came out, really bringing out this application of mixed reality to the reality we have seen in these science fiction movies, right? Like Iron Man, and the way he just moves his fingers, and there you go. He has a tower created. So it's pretty much that.
Devanshi, maybe you could share with us some case studies of digital transformation with cloud and AI.
Yes, and so the first example I would talk about is from the time of pre-COVID, and that was like 2019 2 years ago. Now, yeah, that's 2 years ago. So I was working with this banking customer, and I'm not going to name the customer, but this customer wanted to develop their authentication system in a biometric fashion. And I'm not talking about fingerprints here. I'm talking about facial recognition. So what they wanted was you and I, as banking customers of any bank, go to their online banking service, and when we log in, all we need is our phone's camera to log in. And that's it. So basically have that authentication of facial recognition. It needed to get integrated to their existing platform services they were offering, which was from loans to credit systems to the regular balance checking online banking platform, their internal services. So they wanted to create this as this layer of authentication across all their existing internal as well as external customer facing applications. There was no need for it. They were just trying to be the leader. They were trying to be the first. They are an extremely innovative company for sure. So, and yeah, I mean, as part of this project, I and Microsoft itself has developed their products, new features and roadmaps in so many good ways, especially with facial recognition and the attributes of, the fake image, right? If I hold up for example, I'm logging into your account, Dana, and I'm trying to be mischievous, I can totally hold up your picture. I can hold up a video of you talking with your face is there, eyes are moving. So how do you remove these fake images, right? So there were different use cases we were solving for it. It sounds like a problem statement that is straightforward, but as we dug through it, the different challenges came across. And as part of this, to be honest, they went in production. They are using it today. There is, of course, the failover mechanism of biometric for fingerprint, but they're also using this authentication layer for their lobby systems. For example, back in the days when we went to offices, we would have to check in as a visitor in a company's lobby, right? So you would walk in, imagine like how we have at the airport check-in kiosks in a similar fashion, just walk up to it, face scans, you get a pass and you walk in. So they wanted to minimize touch points with their security people so that you just walk in. There's no need for long queues and quick processing of those new visitors that came in. So I found that extremely transformational, and it was a big case study 2 years ago. And as luck would have it, pandemic happened, and I think it became something as of a need, not just something we were innovating for. No longer it was about, let's do something cool. It was about, hey, we need this. We need this today because we need to minimize touch points. And banking services are one of those organizations that should not shut down because everyday man's, our cash flows sit there, right? So no. So it just grew. It grew at a more fast rate for sure. It was way faster in adoption when pandemic hit. But I have been amazed at the way this has been imbibed in banking. As again, you must take in fact that industry regulations and country regulations are different. This was for one such country in Asia and not here in the US. So it was the fact that the data of people's faces were getting stored, you had to be compliant and call that as a disclaimer that, you know what, we are storing your facial data for recognition, just as the way we do it for phones, right? Your Apple Face Unlock or your Google's Android Unlock. That disclaimers were definitely given, and only if you opted in for it would you be using this feature. But I thought it was a really cool feature to come out.
Yeah, that is interesting. But to your point, to your view, what steps should be done in developing AI technology to unleash its full potential?
So the rate of adoption for AI is higher in startups and new companies because they're small, more volatile. The decision making is easier, and they work in the concept of fail fast and move forward, right? And when you think about enterprises, it's a huge structure in place. The decisions take time because they are big organizations with processes in place that have different checks and balances to go through that ladder of organizational units. And I feel that's where the difference, because of that difference in how they function, startups versus enterprises, that delay is there. And like you said, they want to do it, but there are so many variations of factors. They need a buy-in from X department, Y department, HR, finance, marketing. I mean, it's not just IT that can say, hey, I want to do this because it's cool today, and I think our company should be cool. It's no longer that simple. And second thing, I think it'll be easier only if there is a buy-in there is a use case for everyone to get on board. For example, if you are a non-IT centric company, for example, you are in manufacturing, you create anything. You can be creating cars, you can be building furniture, parts, just those parts. So you're manufacturing something. In that case, IT is just like a hygiene factor you have as part of your ecosystem in your company. It's not the core of your company. So here in this scenario, the demand for AI has to really solve their everyday, the main thing that they're building, the product that they are trying to manufacture for. So if it was, let's say, a car that they're trying to build, then AI has to solve their everyday problem for building that car, not just because I want to have facial recognition when my employees walk in every day to mark them as present or absent, And once they identify such a use case that fits their industry need, not just because the industry is trending that way, but only because it's going to solve their problem, and that problem exists for them. There's no need to create problems that don't exist for you. If your system is working great, awesome, find a different use case for AI. That's okay. Don't try to push it in. Otherwise, AI can be unpredictable. You're trying to build something for it. So once you have a solution, you have a use case you want to solve for, you develop for that. Because now you have enough training data to make it happen. You have the right problem to solve. It's going to help your everyday process, your company to grow, because you're going to save not just time and money, but also the empathy with your workers, employees, and your end customers for whom you're developing this product. So once you identify that, only then can you really build out that AI system. And the adoption rate for enterprises will only go up, in my opinion, if this democratization of AI is a conversation not just in the C-level suite, in everyday suite of people who are making decisions beyond the CXOs, like the first line managers, second line managers, because CXOs say, okay, let's do AI. We're going to bring in these cameras that are going to take a scan of these parts every time, upload it. Great, it's a new system they're introducing, but who's going to do it? Right? So it just can't be a top-down approach. It has to be, you have to meet midway. It has to be bottoms up and top-down. So go parallelly. And I understand it is hard to do this in an enterprise world. I understand that there is a lot more in place, a lot more of understanding that goes in between departments, between people of power, between people of between all the decision makers who make it happen for any enterprise organization.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, right now I'd like to shift our conversation a little bit to diversity and inclusion. Many organizations, they communicate their commitment to those strategies and those beliefs and values internally and externally. So how does that strategy look like at Microsoft across all the functional organizations? And what are the practical implications of gender and ethnical diversity at Microsoft?
At Microsoft, for us, it's not just about diversity. And in all honesty, I personally feel diversity is not just about having people over. It's about inclusion. And unless you practice inclusion, diversity in itself is not impactful. It's just like a tick box. Mm-hmm. So at Microsoft, across teams, and I'm not just saying within US or any particular subsidiary, as a one Microsoft approach, every subsidiary and every functional team within Microsoft practices a very strong D&I practice where we inculcate this good behavior within our teams for whether it be cross-gender, cross individual capabilities, because every individual is different. Just because you have a role today that you want certain key skills to fit in, but there's always this additional variance of the individual personality or character a person gets in, right? So every employee has their X factor, and that X factor makes you different. It could just be two women who are very different. For example, we do associate difference with ethnicity, yes, but that's not the only factor that comes in. I'm talking about I'm sitting here today in an apartment and working. Someone could be sitting in an apartment full of 5 people and working. So there's a difference in what we bring every day and how we bring it. So there's diversity with ethnicity, yes, certain demographics that exist in the market today, ethnicity, our gender, our sexual orientation, how our accessibility needs, for example. So all of that comes in play, and Microsoft definitely has a checkbox and also a practice to feel that everyone gets a chance, everyone feels that they belong here. And I can talk to this personally as well. In my team, and I've worked not just for teams within US, I've worked cross geo as well, where my team was very diverse. I've seen teams being very same ethnicity as well, but also across borders. Back in Asia, I've been part of different teams where some folks were from, let's say, China, some were from Australia, Singapore. I was from India. One of them was from Portugal. So I've seen people of different ethnicities come together. And in that spirit, I think each of us brought not just our intellectual skills, we brought our cultural skills as well. And in that spirit, these are the soft skills that we brought in. So the way we interact, the way we conduct ourselves, the way we bring our thought process for a project, how we are punctual, how we engage every day in business. So that was awesome. And with these diversity and inclusion practices that we go internally at Microsoft, we also do something externally for our partners. For example, we offer programs for the Black and Africans to Black and African owned businesses to help them offer a platform similar to others with different backgrounds, but better opportunities, right? So yes, so we're trying our best to level it and definitely include. In a meeting room when I sit today, and I'm a young female with a brown skin coming from India, sitting in a room full of white folks. Well, it is hard, and but that's not how you walk into a room. It also comes as you from an individual, that you should feel accepted. You should not walk into the room and be like, oh, I'm different. You should walk into the room and be like, yeah, I belong here. And then it is up to them to continue this feeling of mutual respect and belongingness for you. But it has to start from you. You, as an individual, one should not just depend on a team you are part of or other individuals you're interacting with to feel secure, bold, and confident about yourself and belongingness. And I've learned this the hard way. I've learned this through Microsoft. I've learned this through different experiences where I have questioned my own belongingness. That, oh my God, okay, I'm too young. Do I really, can I sit in this room with these CXOs? Oh my God, wow. I've been there. I've been there overwhelmed. I've been there feeling this this constant pressure to just fit fit in instead of just being myself. And there was this one point where I realized in that room of people who are industry experts of years and years of experience sitting there, but none of them could solve this problem we were there to solve that day. So that's where I discovered this amazing sense of belongingness with my technical skills. And I was like, you know what? I'm proud of it. And I'm proud of the fact that I have this to offer for my customers today and I can solve it. I am the one who has the power to help them out today. Yeah. And that was my awakening moment to be like, it's okay. I'm there and I'm going to make it happen. I'm okay to feel judged about it. But I, from then on, I never walked into a room feeling a misfit. I always felt, yeah, I'm there because I deserve to be here. And fortunately, I have met so many good people within Microsoft and outside Microsoft who have offered it back to me that, yes, Devanshi, it's a room of comfort, mutual respect, and we all belong here together. So it's been a journey, but we have all accepted it and included each other in it. So love that.
Well, one of my last questions is about your lessons, right? Could you please distill some of the lessons of your professional path, of your professional career and experience that you could share with a younger generation of women that aspire to start their career and grow their career in technology? So what would that be from you personally?
So for the young women out there, I have this mantra and I really follow this every day and I've kind of put it in my muscle memory. It's no longer a conscious effort, but I think it really helps me. And on the days that I feel my lowest or I feel lost or I feel like, what next? I go back to this. There are five points that I call out. I call them five stars. Okay, so 5 stars that we need to look for. Be intentionally bold. Okay, be there, be yourself. Like I said before, and Dana just pointed it out, that you've got to walk into the room like you own it. You belong there. You are there. So be bold. You want something to change for you, ask for it. You have to be bold. Second star is advocate your impact. So you know how good you are. You know how hard you work to be that good that you are. You know what are your capabilities, what are your shortcomings. You know everything about yourself. If you don't, then please spend some time to discover it. And once you do, be shameless about it and just advocate your impact. Because once you advocate your impact, then that's the best thing you can give yourself. Never rely on someone else to be your advocate, to be your spokesperson. You are your best spokesperson that can be. Third star is build your sponsorship. What that means is create that network around you to be that voice and spokesperson on behalf of you when you cannot be in that room to be that spokesperson. to be your own advocate. So yes, a network helps you, but only as a second step from your own self-advocacy. So definitely create this sponsorship. And I would say the first place to go if you're working in an organizational structure would be your manager and your teammates. And then you build from that. There are different ways you can do this. You can be joining different conferences and go to these breakout rooms and sit in those round tables and get to know different people, get to know the women around, get to know the men around, get to know the experts in your industry or in your field of passion and interest. That way you spend time learning about technologies across your own industry, not just to your own organization that's seen fit. Fourth star would be nurture multiple mentor and mentee connections. So today, as a young professional starting out, trying to discover your own callings, your passions, or trying to find the right direction, you need that mentor to give you that kickstart. I'm not saying you can't do it by yourself. You can definitely do it by yourself. But it is okay to ask for help. It is okay to find someone who can give you that push, a nudge in the right direction. All it does, it is actually in your favor to help you save time, to help you be more reliable in your own journey. And yes, every person's path is different. You traverse your own path and not someone else's. But a mentor-mentee relationship guides you in the right direction for your own passions in your own path. Okay. And tomorrow, when you grow to be someone who has achieved all your goals or is doing well in the direction you chose, you should always go back to the community to offer that mentorship to someone who deserves it. So in that way, you build through the community yourself, and then you go back into the community to give it this time. And I love this cycle of communities that we are surrounded with every day, whether it be technical communities or ethnic communities or just women in tech communities. I've sat through different communities. I've been there through different panel discussions. I've moderated them. I have done it as a participant. And every time I walk out of such a discussion, I take away not just new people with whom I've formed connections, but also sometimes a mentor-mentee relationship where I may be giving back if it is someone who's younger in the network that I spend time with, or if it is someone I want to be like tomorrow, right? I really aspired and I love their 2 bits on technology, industry, AI, being the woman of change. And I would love to learn from them. So yes, you have to be bold and ask for it. So yes, go out there, ask for, hey, can we have this mentorship session of 30 minutes 2 weeks later or something? There is no harm in saying it out there, because what's the worst that would happen? A no? Well, it's a no today. So that's okay. Another no tomorrow, it doesn't matter. So take that risk and ask. The fifth and the last star, and I feel as you build your career as young women, you need to act upon your career plan. So you must act upon it. If you just design it and you put it on a shelf or a folder or a file and you store it, look at it every day, it's not going to get you anywhere, girl. You have to do something about it. And only you can do something about it. Luck plays a role. Yes, I wouldn't discount it, but hard work plays a better role. Perseverance will get you there. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but it will be one day. And the day it happens, you would know it's because of you and not some random luck. So definitely act upon your career plans and go pursue your dreams. Nobody will stop you. Don't let anyone stop you, and believe in yourself. That's all I would say to the young women out there who are aspiring today for a career in tech.
Yeah, that is, tremendously important message. It's something that many years ago I read in Sheryl Sandberg's book Lean In, where she said many women have this imposter syndrome, and then even though they're invited to the table, they don't feel comfortable there, right? And that is something that we should overcome and feel comfortable talking about our experiences, our knowledge, our success, and even our failure, because as we all know, without failure there's no achieving anything. So thank you so much for outlining this beautifully. So thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a great pleasure to talk to you and have you on the show.